What is up, Budget Billers? My name is Trail, and today we are talking about the fourth stimulus package bill, which is part of the Biden's Build Back Better agenda. Now that the Democrats were able to pass and increase the debt ceiling limit, it's time for them to focus on passing this fourth stimulus package. Now, the Biden administration is still working with Congress to get whatever they need to pass this before the end of this year. And right now, the only thing that stands in the way is Senator Joe Manchin, which he continues to go back and forth on supporting this bill. But he has a new advocate in the Senate that's urging him to go in the opposite direction of his party, and that is Senator Lindsey Graham. Graham is now pushing Manchin to kill the Build Back Better agenda once and for all. Also in the news, we have one of the most devastating things that just happened this weekend, and I want to tell you guys all about it. But before we get started, if you are interested in those particular topics, hey, be so kind and go ahead and hit that like button for us. It really helps out this channel. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. Now, let's go ahead and jump right back into this video. Now, you guys may already heard, but on Friday night, devastating tornadoes kills more than 100 people likely. So far, only 70 people have been reported as losing their lives, but they are thinking that more than 100 people, at least in Kentucky alone. Now, at least 100 people were feared dead in Kentucky after a swarm of tornadoes tore a 200-mile path through the U.S. Midwest and the South, demolishing homes, leveling businesses, and setting off a scramble to find survivors beneath the rubble, according to officials. Now, the powerful twisters, which weather forecasters say are unusual in cooler months, destroyed a candle factory and a fire and police station in a small town in Kentucky. Now, these ripped through a nursing home as well in a neighboring Missouri home and killed at least 6 workers at an Amazon warehouse in Illinois. Now, the Kentucky governor, Andy Beshear, said the collection of tornadoes was the most destructive in the state's history. He said about 40 workers had been rescued at the candle factory in the city of Mayfield, which had about 110 people inside it when it was reduced to a pile of rubble. Now, it would be a miracle to find anyone else alive under the debris, but this devastation is unlike anything else I have seen in my life, and I have been troubled to putting it into words, according to Governor Beshear. It's very likely going to be over 100 people who have lost their lives in Kentucky. And I will say, so far, President Biden has already approved of emergency declaration after one of these largest tornado outbreaks in our history has happened. Now, this is just some terrible news to be reporting on, guys, but I really am feeling sorry for these people and their families right now. And according to President Biden on Saturday morning, he issued the emergency declaration in Kentucky and ordered federal assistance to support recovery efforts after a tornado tore through the state, killing at least 70 people. Now, the president also said he stands ready to do the same for the governors of those states as well and other states. And more than 24 tornadoes reportedly touched down across 6 states total, which in addition to Kentucky, it included Arkansas, Illinois, Missouri, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So yeah, guys, this is some devastating news that I'm having to report on, but I do want to make sure that we keep those families in prayer right now during these challenging times. And I hope that you will join me as well as keeping them in our prayers right now. We will be praying for them that have lost their lives, as well as their family and their loved ones, and everyone in the path of these killer tornadoes that happened late on Friday night. Now, in other news, guys, we did get a report on Friday morning about the U.S. inflation rate actually hit a 39-year high as of 6.8% as Americans pay higher prices for almost everything. And I know you guys feel me on this because we are all suffering from the same thing, with prices increasing and our amount of money just continuing to go down. But according to this article, guys, hey, the cost of living climbed again in November and drove the rate of the U.S. inflation to a nearly 40-year high of 6.8%, putting more pressure on households as they confront rising prices on gas, food, cars, rent, and everything else in between. Now, the Consumer Price Index increased by 0.8% last month in November, the government said on this past Friday. Now, economics polled by the Wall Street Journal had actually forecasted for around 0.7%, but as you can see, it actually was a little bit higher than that. But the pace of inflation over the past year has escalated to 6.8% from 6.2% in the prior months. Now, that's more than triple the Federal Reserve's 2% target, and it is the highest rate since 1982. Now, guys, what does this mean for us? Well, it means that the prices are going to be the highest right now in comparison to the amount of money that you and I actually make right now. But one thing for sure is that people are worried about the economic and the political consequences of this inflation rate increase for the month of November. And the White House has also moved to try and help untangle the knots in the U.S. supply chain that are contributing to high inflation rates. Now, many goods and materials are in short supply, as well as prices have risen as a result of those supply issues. But what are we going to do about this, guys? We have to fix the issues with the supply chains. We still have all of those ships out there in the ports in California, Los Angeles, as well as the New York ports that are still stuck trying to get those materials and parts and goods into this country. And those things alone is driving the prices of our goods and services up right now. And as we can see that a lot of people are still losing their jobs right now. And that really caused a damper in this country. I know at my job that I work right now, we just had someone laid off again this past Friday. Now, I questioned my company that I work for. Why would you do this 2 weeks before Christmas time? And he has to go home and tell his family this information right before Christmas and the New Year. This is just not the right time, guys. And then we also saw last week where the CEO of Better.com actually laid off 900 workers on a Zoom call, which was very weird, I will say. But he laid those 900 people off 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas. This is just not going good, guys, for this country. If it continues to go at this rate that we are on, things are not going to be good for us Americans. But I digress. But on to some stimulus update news. Joe Manchin is now facing pressure from Gillibrand and other colleagues on the paid family leave that is in the Build Back Better agenda bill. Senator Joe Manchin is facing mounting pressure from colleagues to back a federal paid family and medical leave plan backed by the Democrats as the party seeks to finish the work on a sprawling $2 trillion social spending package. Now, Manchin has pushed back in the recent months against efforts by his colleagues to advance the proposal for a universal paid leave program in a Democratic-only bill with the party that they are aiming to pass through Congress without the help of any Republican senators. Now, Joe Manchin is insisting that this particular family medical leave program should be done on a bipartisan basis. But a number of Democrats, particularly those who have struggled to find support for similar proposals in the past and don't want to miss this opportunity, aren't giving up and are putting the pressure on Joe Manchin right now. Now, the message that they are saying that my message to my colleagues is if you ever want to meet the needs of your lowest income workers and your middle income workers who are likely never to work at a fancy company that can afford paid leave, this is your one shot to deliver for them, according to Senator Christine Gillibrand. Now, under the current plan being discussed by the Democrats, 4 weeks of paid family and medical leave would be provided to full-time and part-time workers in both the private and the public sector. Now, the program would be administered by the Social Security Administration and operate on a sliding income scale under a formula that the Democrats say would also lower earning workers to keep a larger share of their wages. Now, advocacy groups have praised the proposal program, saying it could be transformative for millions of American workers who don't have the access to paid family and sick leave benefits. Now, the Democrats had previously wanted to provide up to 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave in their massive bill that was proposed a few months ago, but it was actually scaled down to only 4 weeks and then later nixed altogether. But right now they have been able to put it back into this bill, but they've only put it back at giving 4 weeks of paid family and medical leave. Now, Gillibrand, who has had multiple conversations with Joe Manchin about the party's paid family leave proposal over the past few weeks, has been seen by colleagues as the leader in spearheading the efforts in the upper chamber in the Senate to sway the West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin. Gillibrand said that Joe Manchin really likes paid leave. He likes paid leave as an earned benefit. He likes it as 12-week program that's universal. He likes it as a social insurance, and just like Social Security, he likes that framework, she said. But what I know and what I need him to know is that the Republicans don't share that same value. They don't actually support a universal program, and they don't support an earned benefit. And I've asked each one of them who's ever expressed interest in paid leave, she said. Now, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, paid family leave was accessible for less than a quarter of civilian workers in March of 2021. Data reviewed by the agency in March of 2020 found 78% of civilian workers had access to paid sick leave benefits. So guys, right now, they are still trying to get Joe Manchin on board and support this social spending package. But he just keeps on going back and forth on whether he is going to support this bill or not. We actually saw earlier in November where he actually said, you know what? Hey guys, I am ready to go ahead and support this bill, and I'm ready to get behind it. So if the Democrats want to go ahead and push this bill through, then I am going to stand by the Democrats and my party and support this bill. But now that we are in the first week or two of December, now he is pushing back again against this paid family and medical leave program. And now he also has some support from the other side pushing him as well to go against this social spending package. And that is Lindsey Graham. Yes, guys, this article says that Lindsey Graham is hoping to sway Joe Manchin against Biden's plan with the new CBO report that just came out at the end of November. And it says Republicans are hoping to sway Joe Manchin into hitting a pause on President Biden's climate and social spending plan, or nixing it all together, using the new Congressional Budget Office, or the CBO report, on the cost of the bill if all of its provisions were made permanent. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham, the top Republican on the Senate Budget Committee, mentioned Joe Manchin by name approximately 20 times during a roughly 27-minute press conference on Friday. And during that press conference, he actually brought up against the social spending package. He used the CBO's findings that came out earlier this month and the new data that showed the inflation increase that just hit the nearly 40-year high. He used both of these things that are saying that this is another reason of why we don't need to pass the social spending package. Now, Joe Manchin has been wanting to know without any gimmicks, what would the bill actually cost? And now that we received the CBO reports that came out earlier this month, Joe Manchin actually knows exactly what the bill will actually cost, which was not as damaging as people actually thought it was. Now, Lindsey Graham said that we now know it more than doubles what we initially thought. He said, I've done what Senator Joe Manchin said somebody should do, Graham said. He said, what I think will happen is that Joe Manchin will take these numbers and he will start making decisions about what comes next. And my hope is that Senator Joe Manchin will say, stop. Shelve the Build Back Better agenda until we find better answers to where inflation is headed in the future. Now, the CBO released a report on Friday at Graham's request. Let me remind you guys that Lindsey Graham is on the Republican side. Joe Manchin is on the Democrat side. But Lindsey Graham said, we found Biden's spending plan would increase the cost of the deficit by $3 trillion over 10 years if all of its provisions were actually made to be permanent, which we know, guys, all of those things that are included in that social spending package are not to be said to be permanent. Some of them are going to last for the next 4 years. Some of them don't even start until 4 years later from today. So we know this information is not true, guys. But comparatively, the CBO determined that the bill, as it passed the House, would add $200 billion to the deficit in the same time period. it. Now, Graham added that he also talked to Joe Manchin earlier on Friday, and he hoped the CBO report would give him a great pause against the Build Back Better agenda. He said, I talked to him this morning. He was stunned. I think he felt vindicated in that his concerns were legitimate, Graham said. But guys, I will tell you, whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican, your party will go at lengths of doing anything in order to go against the other party, even if those things are really dirty. It doesn't matter, guys. These guys don't have no bars when it comes to these politics. But right here in this article, it says the Republicans are so desperate to justify their opposition to the popular, much needed provisions in the Build Back Better Act that they've resorted to requesting fake scores based on mistruths, Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said in a statement. So guys, as you know, that is the next phase now that we have already passed the debt ceiling increase, and that's going to give enough money to push the government through spending through the year of 2022, at least until the midterm elections. And now that have already been done, we are past that. Now, we have to work on the social spending plan as well as the climate plan in order to get that thing passed by the end of this year. The Biden administration, as well as other people in Congress, are working very hard right now to get this bill passed. And they are trying to get it done without the support of any Republicans. And they just need to get Joe Manchin on board to support this bill. He is the only thing that is holding the Democrats back right now, and maybe Christine Sinema as well, but she's not that vocal as Joe Manchin. But the main hiccup and holdup and bottleneck right now is Senator Joe Manchin. Now, will he change his mind again and go back to saying what he said at the end of November, saying that he is going to support this bill? We don't know yet, guys. He has flipped and changed his mind at least 6 times during this Biden administration. So we'll just have to see what goes on here this month in December and whether Joe Manchin will actually support this paid and family medical leave. I will tell you, most countries around the world do already have this in place instead of the United States. But on the flip side, we do have a lot of corporations in this company that do offer these particular benefits without the government making it a requirement. So I do want to point that out as well. I know my company that I work for right now, they do offer paid and family medical leave. And I know my previous employer actually offered it as well. So again, guys, hey, let me know down below in the comment section whether you think Joe Manchin will actually get on board with supporting this social spending plan by the end of this year, or if he is just going to drag this out to sometime next year. Let me know, guys. But anyways, guys, hey, that's all I have for you today. Now, if you enjoyed this type of content and you want to see more, hey, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. And if you like this video, then go ahead and hit that like button for us. It really helps out this channel, as well as it tells YouTube to share this video with others. But anyways, guys, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.